damn it. Where am I?
You are awake, just in time for the ritual. We'll have a use for you so very soon.
Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a potential how-to video here on Your Professional Walkthroughs channel with me, your host Max. Today we will try to determine if a game in early access can be worth your money. So for the purposes of the video, I have chosen the game Stone Shard, as I wanted to get my hands on it, but because I'm working with also a limited hardware and I'm trying to save up on beefier system that would allow me to not burn down my apartment after editing a video for 4 hours, I am trying to determine if I'm gonna spend money on games or if I'm going to save up, therefore adjusting my budget, as I also don't want to fill up my Steam library with a ton of games which I will never touch again because I'm super unhappy with how they are being developed. So for the purposes of this video, I need to put out a disclaimer that I will not be giving you a review or should you not buy or pass on this specific title. This is strictly for educational purposes, so please keep that in mind. Thank you. Not Your Professional Walkthroughs channel presents. Now look, I have been testing games as a hobby for a longer time. It's due to the fact that I suck at programming or coming up with really great and deep ideas, which is a horrible point to make at the start of the video, but screw it. You see, if I cannot be strictly involved in coding, providing at least the feedback for the developers is a great thing, especially if we are talking about the indie developers who tend to listen to the audience, as some of these titles are either crowdfunded or have some sort of Patreon page or are in the early access, and therefore the feedback can actually help to clear out some of the issues regarding the game, which will make it more accessible to wider audience at its full release date. Now, for example, Stone Shard is brought to us by the developer Inkstains Games and the publisher Hype Train Digital. Now, if you are using Steam, for example, as your initial part of research, you might be able to take a look over the developer's page where you are able to check out few things. Number 1, how many titles do they have listed on Steam? Number 2, how many are fully released or are in early access? Number 3, what is the general response of customers or the overall feedback? This is a great way for you to start off your research, as for example, I was able to even find the prologue for the game, which is accessible for free, and you can try it out yourself. I will leave a link in the description of the video. Now, lots of developers won't do this, and if one of your favorite YouTube channels has not been able to cover this topic as of yet, or it might take them a bit longer as you found that channel where you and the content creator do not know each other personally, but there is something about how they describe a game and the way you then play it, you feel some sort of a connection to their opinion, and even you come up with some potential additional topics or ideas that you would like to discuss when you eventually experience the game on your own. So what can you therefore do? I usually start off my research on Steam. To be honest, I tend to skip the videos or trailers as they tend to only show certain things. I check out few of the screenshots captured, and after that I dive into the developer and check out the overall feedback of the game in the header of the title. The next step might however surprise others, as before checking YouTube, as yes, there's usually someone who has already managed to put out something for the title, either the first impressions on early access, some walkthroughs, or some first episode where they say either that yes, I played it before, trying different builds or style for the channel or something along those lines. Since we are however talking about early access, and I'm trying to avoid the whole early access stagnation / purgatory state where the game seems to be stuck in the same place for ages, I go and check the wiki page. Once again, the link will be in the description. You see, even before being a content creator personally, I used wikis for certain games to help me improve, either in the Darkest Dungeon or Stardew Valley even. Checking a wiki page for the game in early access is a great way for you to check what possible content is already accessible. I know this might be borderline spoiler zone, but if we assume that you are not a complete dumbass and you don't access the story section, but we would go to the skills or traits or mechanics or crafting, you are able to access and view the content that should be accessible, and only when you try either the free version, which I cannot guarantee will be there forever, so keep that in mind please, or that the information on the wiki page will not change or be erased due to the changes and the developing stages of the story, like we had for example in Graveyard Keeper, where you were able to access these super high-end candles from the bishop, but now you just simply cannot get to them. So please keep this in mind. If you know what kind of game Stone Shard is, and if you play RPGs and you go for specific builds, you have the unique opportunity to check for yourself if you can accommodate your type of playstyle. Because if you want to do the Terry Crews build where you put all your points into strength and charisma, you need to know if that is even a thing. This will give you a nice depth of understanding of what you are trying to achieve, and if the current stage of the game will allow you to do so. After that, you can move on to the next thing. You can check out the YouTube for coverage of the title. Potentially you can also check out Twitch or Mixer or any of the other platforms where people tend to stream games. This will give you potentially a direct feedback from the person who is covering the title. It might be better even than the comment section of a YouTube video, as sure, even when the video is published on the channel, there's no actual guarantee that immediately you are gonna get a feedback, as the person might step away or do something else. Therefore, yes, live streams might be a better way. However, I'm not sure how many people tend to stream early access titles due to their limitations. So please keep that in mind. Look, the real reason why I'm saying you should research your game, it's fairly simple. All things considered, with the current environment and how lots of people are affected, even financially, I'm not saying that you should get all greedy and stingy with your money. But if you are working with, let's say, allowance, or you are in highly restricted budget, heck, even if you are not working with a budget, you should not be filling your Steam library with games that you will play once and then never touch again. If you have a game, try to make sure it will be a viable investment into your time as well, as the time you will spend, let's say, playing the game will be affected by other activities. You might have to take out your dog for a walk. You might have to go for groceries. You might be told to do the dishes or take out the trash. And trust me, doing those tasks while you are on a wiki page for a game which you are potentially trying to research is much easier rather than telling somebody that you cannot step away from the computer because you are currently in a ranked match in League of Legends. Therefore, try to study and look up your next purchase, as sure, we like having few titles in our Steam library, but trust me, Gabe will survive if you pass or just wait a little longer for the early access title to get to a much better stage at which you will enjoy the game more, as if you want to support the starting indie studio. There is nothing wrong with that, as it will take them probably a couple of years before, they get to the horrible status of the major developers in the gaming industry. But yeah, that will be mostly it from my end. I do realize this one is a bit shorter, but it was kind of a spur of the moment video, as the inspiration struck me while working from home, and after I was done with what pays the bills, I was able to work on what I would hope can pay the bills. But not with my horrible writing skill, or this terrible mic, or the limited hardware which I have. So yeah, I'm going to wish you a pleasant homework / research, and hopefully I will see you in either the comment section, in case you have other tips which might come in handy when it comes to researching a potential game which you want to get your hands on. I mean, obviously this video on its own has much greater potential in somebody else's hands, but these are not your professional walkthroughs people, so potentially check out the channel, as like I said, I'm working with some limited hardware here. So yeah, check out the channel, potentially subscribe. Do let me know what you think about the game, as I'm still not exactly sure if I will want to purchase the game at its current stage. I was able to test out the free version, which, like I said, will be linked in the description, and hopefully I will see you either at the next one or in the comment section. Thank you for your attention. I'm gonna wish you a pleasant rest of the day, and bye bye.